Okay, now we're going to look at some equations and solve for some variables. So right here we have V equals L times W times H, and they want us to solve for H. So I'm going to write that over here. V equals L times W times H. And so we're trying to solve for H right here. So these things are getting multiplied here. And so in order to solve for a variable, you're kind of going to undo this. You're going to do the opposite. So we're going to divide by L and divide by W on both sides. And what will happen here is the L's cancel, the W's cancel, so we're left with V over L times W equals H. And so that's how you solve for H right there. Okay, looking at this next one, it can get a little complicated. Right here we have y equals 2 times m times x plus 8 times b. Okay, so the way we're going to have to solve for this one is we want to solve for x. So you don't want to start with the division, because if I start with that, then I'm going to have to divide the 8b by 2m also. So I actually want to start away from the x. You kind of work your way towards it. So I'm going to start by subtracting both sides by 8b. So then that will leave me with y minus 8b equals 2 times m times x. Now at this point, it actually kind of looks similar to the one we just got done doing. So to get x by itself, I'm going to have to divide by 2m. And then I can divide each of these by 2m or just divide the whole thing. I'm just going to go ahead and divide the whole thing by 2m. And so then the 2's will cancel here and the m's will cancel here. So I'm left with y minus 8b all over 2m equals x. And there we go. Now, real quick, if I would have done the division individually, I would have had y divided by 2m minus 8b divided by 2m. Now, if I would have done it that way, that's fine. But yes, I would have been able to reduce the 8 and the 2 right here. That would have reduced to a 1 and this to a 4. So I'd end up with y over 2m minus 4b over m. Now, I'm not trying to confuse you, but this is another way you could represent your answer right here in solving for x. Either one's fine. I kind of like the first one better because I have a single fraction instead of two fractions, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Okay, our next one, not too bad. What we're going to do here is we're going to solve for x again. So we're going to divide both sides by what I have in parentheses right here, 3 plus 4k. So if I divide that here, I have to do it on the other side, 3 plus 4k. And so those cancel out with each other, and I'm left with y over the 3 plus 4k equals x. And that is going to be it for that one. Okay, on our next one here, says solve negative 2z plus c is equal to negative 8, and they want us to solve for c. So I want to isolate c. So I don't like having the negative 2z. So to nullify that, to knock it out, I'm going to add 2z, and those will cancel each other out. So then I need to add 2z over here. So that cancels out. I'm left with c equals negative 8 plus 2z. So I can't add those together because they're not like terms. I have to keep them separate. By the way, you could have put the 2z in the front and then put a minus 8 on the back. Either one's fine. Either one is good. Okay, our last one. This one's a really good one because this is something you will see in a later unit. So we have negative 8x plus 2y equals 16, and we want to solve for y right here. Okay, so kind of similar to what we did up here, I would start by, I'm going to add 8x to both sides to isolate the 2y, and then I'll deal with the 2 in just a moment. So let's see, I'm going to add 8x here and add 8x here. So that cancels out, so I'm left with 2y equals, it doesn't matter which one goes first. I'm actually going to put the x first. So I'm going to put 8x and then plus 16. And there's a reason why, and it'll, like I said, we'll kind of deal with this in later units. Then I need to remove the 2 times the y. I want to get rid of it. So I'm going to divide by 2. Now I can divide the whole thing by 2, and that's kind of what I showed you to do beforehand, or I can divide each individual piece by 2. Well, I'm going to actually divide each individual piece because they will go ahead and reduce. And so I'm going to be left with y equals 4x plus 8. Okay. And so, like I said, this is something that we'll actually work on some more in some later units.